managing money as a couple is not always straightforward. It's not always that
Yeah.
easy to do. It sounds easy when we say manage money as a couple, definitely do it. But actually, there's some work required for you to get to a position where you find your stride, you find your pace, you find a way to manage money together in your relationship that actually does work, and in a way that works not just for you or not just for your partner, but in a way that works for the both of you. So, what we're going to talk about today, we're just having a chat really around the fact that managing money as a couple is not something that you just walk into. It takes a bit of time.
Yeah.
It's the easy thing to do is to open Excel and put your spreadsheet together. Fine. The thing that takes time is then how you work together as a team when it comes to your finances. And we're going to share with you some points about, things to consider as you're going through this journey in your relationship, because trust us, it is worth the investment. It is worth the effort. It is worth the time for you to put in with your partner to build your financial intimacy together to work as a team.
Absolutely. I think for me, it's very important to be mindful of the fact that you are still two different people. Like he was saying, a lot of the times when we're like work together as a team, it might come off as if we're just saying, yeah, tick the box, work together as a team. It's very easy, but that's not it. Like I've actually realized like you have your way of dealing with money and I have my way of dealing with money. And it took us a while to get to a point where we're actually doing that together and working together. But it starts with you understanding that your partner is different. It starts with you understanding and acknowledging that actually he may do things differently. So maybe I'm a saver and you're not a budgeter at all, but now having to come and put those things together, it's a skill. You actually have to learn how to do it. You have to be patient with each other. You have to actually take that time to actually understand that actually he's not a budgeter, right? Or he wasn't a budgeter, for example. So just because I do it, I can't just expect you to do it as well, if that makes sense.
Mm.
I can't just expect that
Mm.
actually it will come like that to you. It
Mm-hmm.
may take a while, and that's okay. That I feel like that's the whole point of being in a relationship. You're there to
Mm.
help build each other. You're there to understand each other. You're there to make adjustments where necessary. But the end goal, like you said, will be worth it because it's an investment.
Yeah, so practically speaking, like you said, what this might look like is, let's just say, for example, that we both agree to save money,
Yeah.
but actually the way that we do it is different. So maybe I prefer to save as much as I need to save,
Yeah.
and then kind of make do with the rest. I'm like, okay, as long as I've saved £300, that's that. I'm happy. Save
Yeah.
300, and then the rest, like we'll just figure it out as time goes on. Whereas maybe you prefer to make sure that the bills are paid and then save the rest.
Yeah.
Now that sounds like a very simple difference, but actually it's
It's
a
a
key
big
difference. It's a
difference.
massive
Yeah.
difference, because what if when you've considered the bills and the living expenses and the food shopping and all these other things, there's only £200 left.
Yeah.
I'm of the mindset of, well, we'll just put the other 100 in there, and then we'll just figure it out as we go along, as if we don't have the other 100. Whereas you're like, no, actually that doesn't work for me. I need to make sure that we've got money for this and this and this,
Yeah.
and by doing that, I can only realize that we can only save 200. So what do we do? So you can see already in that slight difference of approach, although we are both in agreement that we should save, that slight difference of approach just kind of puts us in a position where it's like, okay, we've agreed to save, but now that we are doing it, there's already friction
It's
in there.
different.
There's already some difference in
Yeah.
there. So that's why we're saying that you need to acknowledge that you're two different people with two different ways of doing things, with two different ways of approaching things. And so by acknowledging the differences, you're then able to have a conversation that is hopefully constructive and hopefully put you in a position to then say, okay, how much should we save? 300 or 200, or maybe we're in the middle, 250,
Yeah.
who knows? Whatever the decision is, you come to it because you've acknowledged that, I see
This difference.
we are different in
Yeah.
this scenario. So that's the thing there. This what's the second thing? The second thing that we've got down in here is your past and your upbringing.
Oh
That's a
yeah.
big difference.
Oh
Your past and your upbringing definitely play a big part in just everything. Actually, who
yeah.
you are is we can trace it back to how you were raised. But when it comes to money specifically and how it then affects you managing money with your partner, I think, yeah, there's so much to say with this one. I'm not gonna lie. But let's start off, for example, with your money mindset.
Yeah.
I think a large part of your money mindset, what you feel and think about money, your relationship with money from that mental perspective, it can be traced back to, the experiences you had as a child, can be traced back to what you were told as a child. For example, if you're raised in an environment where you were told money doesn't grow on trees, we don't have
Yeah.
money, don't ask me for money,
There's rice
and
at home. We're
there's
not
rice at
buying
home.
McDonald's.
Exactly. We're not buying that. We're not going here. You're not going on holiday with your friends because we don't have money for that. We
Yeah.
don't do that in our household. That kind of thing where it's like money is seen as this thing that you just never had or you never
Yeah.
have. That can really influence just your mindset as a human being in terms of like now that you're a grown up. Maybe you're a hoarder. Maybe you're like, no, we need to make sure we have money. You're so, I don't know.
I think I was like that because
Yeah.
I grew up in that environment of, oh, we don't have money, we don't have this, we don't have that. I then became the type of person that when I was then earning my own money and had money, I was very much like, we need to save. We need to save. Everything was a we
Yeah.
need to save, we need to save, we need to save. Why? Because all of that had been so ingrained in my head to a point where I was like, struggle life is not for me. Like, I'm not going back to struggle life. So I saw savings as that cushion. And yeah, savings are a cushion, but you also have to have a balance. You also still have to live life. You also still have to use money for other things. And I think for me, even investing, when you start talking about investing, I was like, I don't want to do that because I see it as a risk. I see it as losing money. I just want to save because I don't want to be back there. And then it influenced the way that we were then dealing with money in our relationship because everything to me had to be pay the bills and save. Sometimes you're not even having fun, you're just paying the bills and saving. So I see what you're saying. Your upbringing will definitely influence the way that you are with money now.
So I'd probably say, the tip really here maybe is to spend time to understand your upbringing and also understand your partner's upbringing to some degree. Just kind of ask each other questions like, what was money like in your relationship with your parents, or with the people you were raised with. Even birthdays, were you always bought a gift on your birthday and Christmases? Like, did they buy you big gifts all the time? Or do they just never really get you gifts at all?
Yeah.
It's little things like this that would then influence your mindset when it comes to money and the way you view money and what you think about it, I think.
Absolutely. So, like, the third point that we've actually got on here is that communication and coming to an agreement or an agreed way of doing things as a team is actually key. Especially now you are in a relationship. It's not, you're not going solo anymore. You're not solo dolo anymore. You're literally like the two of you in the relationship. For some of you, your husband and wife. For some of you, it's you and your partner. You've lived together for so long. You're in a serious relationship. You can't just make decisions by yourself. You have
No,
to come to an agreement.
absolutely. And when we say communication, there is a difference between informing someone and involving someone.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I think you don't want to be in a position where you're simply informing your partner, "Hi, babe, I bought this." Just
Yeah.
FYI.
Just to let you
just
know.
just to let you know, there's a package coming today, by the way, and how much was it? Oh, yeah, a few hundred. Like it's like at that point, I'm just informing you. I'm not really communicating with you about my thought process, right? And that happens in
Yeah.
some relationships, and I'm not gonna lie, we've done that too, where
Yeah.
we've kind of fallen into the trap of, you know what? I think my wife might not like me making this decision, so
But
let me do it,
yeah.
and then tell her afterwards, because
Yeah.
then I can tick the box and say I communicated with you. But actually, that's not what we mean, is it?
Yeah.
Like what we're saying is actually be involve your partner. So I guess for us, what that means is it's when I'm thinking about it, I just talk to you about it, and one key thing here, I think there's another misconception that people think is that they think that what we're saying is ask for permission, which is not the case.
Yeah.
It's not about asking for permission. It's actually, think of it more as like, I'm involving you because I value your input and I value
Yeah.
what you have to say
Yeah.
about this thing. And whatever decision I'll make, I'm going to make it with your input in mind.
Yeah.
And that is the key thing. I think that's the key thing that then builds trust in the long run, and that's the key thing that would help you to then put money in a position where it's not like I'm doing things on my own and I'm just telling you
Yeah.
afterwards, but actually we're doing it together. Even though it's gonna be like something that I have the decision on, or you have the decision on, whatever
Yeah.
the case is. But I think communication is key from that perspective.
And I definitely agree with you. I think when we first got married, that was one of the things where it's like, well, I don't have to like communicate that with you, or I'm informing you after the fact type of thing. Whereas I've seen the difference now. We've been married for like 8 years, and I can actually see the difference because even with the little things, I will always still go to Tando and be like, oh yeah, we're buying this for the house. What do you think? I may really like the thing and I may really love it, but I still want to know what his thought process is. And a lot of the times he's really good at being like, oh yeah, okay, maybe. Why do you want that? Like, let me just understand your thought process behind it. Sometimes it's just about understanding the thought process behind it rather than saying yes or no. It's just understanding why you want to get that. And I feel like it helps the relationship because it helps us communicate better. So it's definitely a key thing to do in the relationship, communicate with each other.
No, 100%. Listen, don't underestimate your partner's wisdom,
Yeah.
knowledge. I think there is a tendency to kind of feel like, oh, that's just my wife, but like she might be a boss, like when it comes to just thinking and strategically planning and things like that. So don't underestimate your partner in that regard. Definitely go to them and just question them. Say, what do you think? What about this? What about that? And then just see what happens.
And if you're like me, sometimes you're very good at being like, oh, have you seen that? It's actually cheaper there, type of thing. And yeah, I love a good saving. So
True.
if you're going to tell me about something that's cheaper elsewhere, I'm team that all day, every day. So the fourth thing that we actually have is to understand that, as we said in the beginning, understand that you will crawl before you walk when it comes to dealing with money as a couple. Like a lot of like we were saying, a lot of the times I think it's very easy to think that when we say work together as a team or manage money together as a couple, it's something that will just be like that. It won't just be like that. Like, for all the reasons that we've explained before, it will take time. And it's okay. If it's taking time, it's okay. At least you're actually working at it. At least you're actually putting in the work to make it work. And understand that because you are different people, it might take you a minute. What takes someone else a month to do might take another person 4 months to do, 5 months to do. It's a process at the end of the day. You're actually not sprinting through your relationship. It's a marathon. Take that time to understand each other. Take that time to actually be like, okay, how is it going? Reflect on it as well. Like I was saying, it's you're not running. You have to crawl with this. Take your time with it at the end of the day.
Yeah, so like we said earlier on, for me, I was really big in investing. You wasn't, and it took a while for you to kind of
Yeah.
see the importance and the role that investing plays when it comes
Yeah.
to finances. But that took some time to get there. Similar thing with us kind of being in a position where we can work together with our money. It took some time. Yes, we opened joint accounts immediately soon after we got married. Yes, we had a spreadsheet that we both looked at, but it still took time for us to really understand what our habits were, but also to align our habits together. And
Yeah.
we had a lot of friction along the way, a lot of frustration, and that will happen, and that it hasn't stopped, to be fair, but we're just so much better now than we were
Yeah.
before, and it's just a continuous process. And I think that's what we're trying to get at here is a sense of, the funny thing is, most of the things that you may think of when it comes to like managing money as a couple is joint accounts, having a budget spreadsheet, having a joint savings, all that kind of stuff. That stuff is the easy part. The thing that will take time, really and truly, is that, okay, now I'm not just thinking as Tanner Jacobs, you're not just thinking as Lindy. We're thinking together as a team. We're thinking that, okay, as a team, this is what we are going to do together. And we go about doing that thing. We're committed to what we're doing together. And that takes time. And it's okay for you to have friction whilst you're figuring out each other and how to work as a team. So that's something I would add on to that.
Absolutely. So if you found what we've had to share with you today super useful, let us know in the comments. Let us know what teething problems you had and what sort of things you started doing to sort of help you guys as a couple to get to a point where you are a lot better now. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you also subscribe. And if you're here for like maybe the fifth or sixth time and you've not subscribed yet, why haven't you subscribed? Make sure you hit that subscribe button and we'll definitely see you soon.